Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go! Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes! Thrive Nation, welcome back to another exciting edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast. Download. Robert Redmond, how is it going, my friend?
Man, it is going great. It's a beautiful spring day here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes.
In the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. So
you brought I'm trying to give us wins, and you brought the room down.
I didn't mean to bring it down, but so I've been reading today.
I'm trying to be positive.
I've been so positive is that the nation believes that we're hitting our peak. So this thing is going down, and we're beginning.
So it's going to get worse. We've hit our peak as a nation.
No, yeah, it's as bad as it can get.
It's not going to get any better than this in the world. We've hit our peak, folks.
Yeah, we've hit our peak, and things are going to start declining, and now we're really beginning to see that this wasn't as bad as everyone made it seem it'd be, which is a good thing, which means I think we can actually reopen by the end of the month.
Well, let's do this. Let's do nothing but positive things on today's show.
Okay, so
on today's show, we're going to be interviewing one of your great clients.
Yes.
What's his name? What does he do?
Roger Patterson.
Roger Patterson.
This is one of my favorite people
I've
ever worked with. I do have favorites. He's one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. He owns a company called Rogers Plumbing.
Woo! Yeah, that's great news. He owns a company.
He owns a company.
Oh, yes.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is an essential business.
Yes.
He owns a plumbing company down in Leander, Texas, which is just north of Austin. It's a suburb of Austin, just west of Round Rock, Texas.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Roger, there's a lot of cool things about him. First cool thing is he's been in business on his own for 27 years.
Whoa.
He just told me yesterday, we have our meeting every Thursday. He told me that out of 27 years, in March, in the wake of this whole thing that we're all dealing with, he had his best month ever.
What?
Best month ever.
Best month
after
ever.
27 years.
Oh!
It's awesome.
Yes. And again, what's his name? What's the name of his company?
Roger Patterson. Name is Roger Patterson of Rogers Plumbing.
Okay. So we have a lot of great things happening here. So we have three more Thrivers that just received their Paycheck Protection funding. If you're out there listening and you don't know what the Paycheck Protection Program is, essentially the federal government is issuing you 2.5 times your monthly payroll. That money's coming from the Small Business Administration and being delivered to you via your local community bank or your local bank. And we have 3 clients that just received their Paycheck Protection Program funding, which is huge because many businesses have been deemed to be non-essential or they've been shut down in some capacity. So we have 3 clients. We're going to share their stories with you. 3 Thrivers who have been funded. It's exciting times. Also, we're going to celebrate the success of Roger Patterson of Rogers Plumbing, who set a record. And I've got some audio clips here that are going to be a lot of fun for the listeners out there. This is Senator Dr. Scott Jensen. He's a senator, Dr. Scott Jensen from Minnesota, the great state of Minnesota. And this is
pro-right state, I think. No.
Oh, no. But Senator Dr. Scott Jensen is sharing with you that many of the coronavirus deaths have been falsely attributed. So I would not be shocked if you see the number of actual deaths going down. The number of reported deaths might go down too because they've been falsely attributing many deaths in America to the coronavirus. So let's cue up what Dr. Scott Jensen, Senator Dr. Scott Jensen from Minnesota has to say.
Well, in Minnesota, as a physician, I received an email last week from the Department of Health coaching me on how to fill out death certificates. And I've never really received coaching from the Vital Statistics agency in terms of how to do a death certificate. But basically, I felt like they were saying, you don't have to have a confirmed laboratory test for COVID-19 in order to make the death certificate be COVID-19. So
Wait. Sir, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that and what you just said, I think is critically important. Can you repeat what you just said, please?
Well, last Friday, I received a 7-page document that sort of told me that if I had an 86-year-old patient that had pneumonia but was never tested for COVID-19, but sometime after she came down with pneumonia, we learned that she had been exposed to her son who had no symptoms, but later on was identified with COVID-19, that it would be appropriate to diagnose on the death certificate COVID-19. Now, we've not done that. If someone has the pneumonia after and it's in the middle of a flu epidemic, and I don't have a test on influenza, I don't diagnose influenza on the death certificate. I will say this elderly patient died of pneumonia.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but my heart is sinking right now as you're telling me this. You're a doctor. Why in the world would they be sending you out information to fill out death certificates, whether the person's been diagnosed with COVID-19 or not, but then to say in the death certificate this person's death was caused by COVID-19? That does not sound right to me.
I went to the person in our office who does most of the death certificates over the last 10, 20 years, and I said, does this sound right? I had her look at the documents that I printed off, and she said, well, we've always been told that you always put down just facts. You don't put down any probabilities. You don't put any presumptions down. It's just what you know. And so this is concerning.
Okay, Robert, that's concerning information right there. That's a little bit alarming.
Well, it is, because this is happening all over the country. I even, my neighbor, so my wife was talking to her the other day, and she said that she had COVID-19. And this was after she had already recovered. But so my wife, they were texting back and forth, and she was like, oh my gosh, did you get a test? No, I didn't get a test. I went into the hospital. I was having, these flu-like symptoms, and they just said, hey, you have it. Just go home and quarantine yourself.
Surely you can't be serious.
Surely.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I have another client who's a great guy. He runs a company called Boom Mobile. The exact same thing happened to him.
Right.
Now, if you and I know 2 people that were falsely diagnosed with the coronavirus, how many people have been falsely diagnosed? Now, President Trump, we're talking about all positive things. President Trump had a press conference here 2 nights ago where he discussed the fact that the official predicted number of deaths attributed to the coronavirus has dropped from 2.2 million was the initial prediction for deaths from the coronavirus from Neil Ferguson, by the way, the incredible mind, the director of the Abdul Latif Jameel Institute for Disease and Emergency Analytics. Neil Ferguson initially reported a 2.2 million death. He originally predicted 2.2 million doomsday deaths for Americans. Now, Trump last night, he was talking about, he says, hey, looks like that number is down a little bit. And they go, yeah, it's down. He says, well, it looks like the number's down. Look at the number. Again, this is real stuff here, folks. I cannot make this up. The Los Angeles Times has reported it as well. They're now predicting 60,415 deaths.
For the entire year.
Yeah, down from 2.2 million.
Right.
And so
total, which I think is total, because that number, that 60,000, that's not just over a period of few weeks.
Yeah.
That's including the entire year, which makes this thing about equal to the deaths of the flu that we
experienced. The common flu in 2017, 2018 killed a total of 80,000 people. We're putting a link here to this page. It's called thrivetimeshow.com/coronavirus. Never thought I'd make that page. thrivetimeshow.com/coronavirus, where you can learn all of the facts. It's all cited, all the data. It's all right there. But this is President Trump addressing a reporter who was asking him about the remarkable decrease in the predicted number of total deaths. Here we go.
Now that the IMHE model specifically has been adjusted down to 61,000, when are we going to open back up? Can you give us a better date? Is it going to be April 30th, May 1st?
You said adjusted back down 61,000. What was adjusted back down?
The IMHE model, the one that originally predicted like between 100 and 200,000.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, it's still a big number, right? 61, right? That's a big number. Go ahead.
But can you give us a more specific date? Will it be
Well, I don't
April
wanna do that.
30th,
Look,
May 1st?
I had a date, and I thought it was a very aspirational date. It's turning out to be very interesting because a lot of good things are happening. by Easter. But I had a very aspirational date. I didn't think you could make it. I didn't say we would do it by Easter, but I said, boy, wouldn't that be great to shoot for Easter? That would be a great day, beautiful day, very important day to a lot of people like me and like some of you in the room. Maybe all of you in the room, frankly. But Easter is a very important day. So I had, aspirationally, I said, let's see if we can do it at Easter. But I said it would be very tough. And I was criticized for that. So I don't like giving dates. And that wasn't a date. That was just an aspiration. That would have been incredible. But I don't think we're going to be very far behind. And some of these models are looking like Easter is going to be a very important date anyway because of the curve. I mean, it's hitting the top and it's starting to come down. And one person said Easter is looking like a good time. So a good time for that, for
one
heading
person
down.
said Easter's looking like a very good time.
I heard one person say
I love that.
Trump-tastic.
Now, one more final piece of good news before we pick up the phone and we call our good friend Roger Patterson. The World Health Organization is recommending that we allow them to take our kids from our homes and to separate them from us to protect them from the virus. And I'm just so glad that President Trump is beginning to discredit the World Health Organization. Listen to these jackwagons. This is the...
Last week, Dr. Michael Ryan, he's a leader at the World Health Organization, announced that in response to the spread of this virus, authorities may have to enter people's homes and remove family members, presumably by force.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Just so you know, we're coming to your house, seizing your children, and, quote, isolating them in a safe and dignified manner.
What a jackwagon.
That guy kind of looks like a schmuck, too.
He's a total schmuck. I mean, America is starting to sober up and wake up to this false panic, this ridiculously exaggerated panic. And I am excited that more and more people are pulling their heads out of their rectums, and they're just getting off of social media and actually paying attention to the facts. It's exciting. I mean, when I heard that 2.2 million Americans were predicted to die, my immediate reaction was, who's saying that? So I look up the guy.
Who is saying that?
Yeah, that's my immediate thing. I mean, consider the source.
Who?
Who? And I look him up, and it's Neil Ferguson. I'm like, oh, it's Neil. It's Neil again. Neil the Thrill for always looking for the spotlight.
That Neil Ferguson.
That silly director of that Abdul Latif Jameel Institute for Disease and Emergency Analytics.
Promoting American health everywhere.
Good job. I mean, the last time that I listened to the Saudi Arabian recommendations for anything and took it seriously was never. Why? Because it's Saudi Arabia. Get out of here.
Seriously.
Let's call Roger Patterson.
Hello, this is Roger.
Roger Patterson, this is Clay Clark and Robert Redmond. How are you, sir?
Super fantastic. How are y'all doing?
Oh, we are fired up here. Robert's been bragging on you, telling me how great you've been doing. He's been also spraying me down with Lysol while having
disinfectant everywhere, Roger.
Just I'm washing it down with Coronas.
One of my favorite things about working with Roger is I don't know if he's doing this to be nice, but he laughs at almost all my jokes.
Oh, he's a good guy.
And it brings me so much joy. It makes me feel better.
Hey, I know where my butter's bred. My bread's buttered, whatever, however that saying goes.
Well, now, Roger, where are you located? Tell the listeners out there, where are you located?
Specifically, I am in Leander, Texas, so that's just right outside of Austin, God's country.
And what poor life choices did you make that led you into working with Robert Redmond? Because Robert works with a lot of. Robert helps his clients grow. All of his clients are growing. They're always so happy about the growth, and they're so happy they're able to put up with him as a person. So, what poor life choices did you make that allowed you to end up working with Robert?
So I've been in business a long, long time, almost 27 years specifically, and finally I had to bow down and show some modesty and say, you know what, I can't wear all these hats and I can't do it all myself. I need somebody that knows something more than I do about this to help me get through this process and ultimately get to where we want to grow as a business. And it started off with an email from Tim, and that phone conversation, and then ultimately that led Robert and I working together.
Now, one of the things that can be very challenging, I know when I was first working with Robert and teaching him a lot of the systems, the thing that can be challenging is that everybody's going the wrong direction. You know, according to Inc. magazine, 96% of businesses fail every 10 years. 96%.
Yep.
So Robert's taught you a lot of things, and I want Robert to be able to share about how you've implemented them. But if you can just share with us, what is your web address, so that way the listeners can look you up?
So it's callrogersplumbing.com.
Callrogersplumbing.com. And you're based in Texas. And tell us, what are some of the things that you have implemented, some of the coaching that you've implemented that has made the biggest impact on your business's growth? Because you've been in business for a long time, but you're setting records, my friend.
We're working hard at it. And, you know, and it's not just me and it's not just us. So Robert's helped out tremendously. And a lot of times it's difficult for owners to do what they expect of their other people, the people that work for them, and that's the accountability piece. And that's the true value of working with Robert, and the accountability piece that goes along with, you know, the business fundamentals. And the most recent example of that is the implementation of the Profit First system.
Now, so let's talk about the Profit First system, Robert. That's a great book written by Mike Michalowicz, who's been on our show before, and he's actually interviewed me on his show as well. So we're very familiar with Mike Michalowicz. But for the listeners out there that are not familiar with Mike Michalowicz and the Profit First system, explain on kind of a third grade level what the Profit First book and or system is all about.
Yeah, so most approaches to managing your cash in your business or managing your accounting, traditionally it's, hey, you make sales, okay, then you have all your expenses, and then whatever is left over, you get to keep. That's called your profit. And what Mike Michalowicz, the author, began to notice is that as you spent more, as you grew in sales, you also began typically spending more. So you get additional resources, you get additional employees, you want, more luxury experiences for your clients possibly. You end up spending more, and your profit really isn't there. And so he said that, hey, your profit's got to be first. He flips that model on its head, and he says that after you make sales, the first thing that you have to do is you have to take that money in sales and allocate it toward your profit. And so you set up these different bank accounts. But that's the basic idea, is you're always, after each sale, you're putting money away for your profit. And what that does is that leaves you only so much money left over on expenses. But what he argues in his book is that even though there's only a little bit of money left over for expenses, you're still able to do the same amount of work, but you just may have to get more creative or look at the details more or look at your numbers more or get more efficient with something.
Shaka-baba.
So that's how the model works. And what led me and Roger into working with this is, at the time, my dad, Tim Redmond, he's the CEO of Redmond Growth, and he had us all reading the Profit First book. And right after we finished the book, I was talking to Roger. I think this was back in January, Roger.
It was, yes.
And we were looking at Roger's profit and loss statement. And I said, hey, you guys posted like a 24% net profit, 25% net profit. That's really good. But then Roger goes, yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know where any of that money is.
I have audio of your earlier conversations with Roger.
Oh, goodness.
This is audio of you talking to Roger before he was implementing the Profit First system. And this is Roger after a great year of realizing he'd worked very hard and didn't have a whole lot of money left at the end of working hard. This is Roger. Roger, I might have the wrong sound clip. This might not be you. Let me cue it up and see if this is you.
La, Luke.
Yeah.
Luke, I am your father.
Just staring into a box fan. Staring into a box fan. I can relate to that early on in my business career. I know when you work super hard and you get to the end of the year and you're going, where did all my money go? Did you ever find yourself asking those questions, Roger?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then what happens is you start to get mad, AKA more aggressive usually, and then you begin to spend more on advertising, more on sales, more on systems, more. And you're spending more, making more, spending more, keeping less, spending more, working more. Pretty soon you get to the end of that going, I can't work anymore, I can't earn anymore, and I can't make less.
Right.
I mean, that's the default.
That's the cycle.
It's the cycle of suck. I mean, I've got some. I got a lot of people want to know what the coaching with Robert sounds like. And if it's okay, Robert, in order to fight the coronavirus, we've all given up our First Amendment right to peaceably assemble.
Right.
And I've also, you've given up your right to have a peaceful conversation with Roger without your phones being tapped. So this is one of your. This is your second call with Roger before you guys implemented the Profit First system. This is you coaching Roger. Here we go.
A lot of pressure. You got to rise above it. You got to harness in the good energy, block out the bad. Harness, energy, block, bad. Feel the flow happy. Feel it. It's circular. It's like a carousel. You pay the quarter, you get on the horse. It goes up and down and around. Circular, circle with the music, the flow. All good things.
That's how we start every single meeting.
I think that's what what
the
people
beginning
think.
of every single
people
meeting.
think that is what business coaching is all about. So I want to go back to implementation here. You have submitted to the accountability. You've definitely implemented the systems instead of debating them. You've implemented the Profit First saving systems. What else has he done well there?
So last thing, just to brag on Roger a little bit, and also encourage the listeners out there.
Yeah, shakababa.
So we introduced the system to Roger, but Roger really just owned it, and he took it, and he ran with it. And that's what's really required. It's like, Clay, I've heard you say that the hardest part about the Profit First system is just setting up the freaking bank accounts, which is the first step. And so Roger not only did that, he read the book, he set up the accounts, he even came up with tracking sheets so that we know when to allocate. So that's been a great thing. And then, Roger, I think a really big thing that we've implemented that's made a difference is also the simple lead tracker.
Oh yes, no doubt.
Yeah. So every single week we'll meet together.
Tell us about the lead tracker. I love it. It's sexy. Tell us about the sexy system.
Man, you totally know how to just throw a curve and everything I was saying by putting on sexy music when I'm talking to Roger about the lead tracker.
The lead tracker is sexy.
The lead tracker will tell you which direction you need to go, whether you need to come, whether you need to go, whether you need to leave, or whether you need to stay.
How has the lead tracker helped you guys?
Roger, why don't you tell them so I'm not doing the only one talking here.
So there again, it's just some fundamental things that you really want to know what's going on in your business about. And so it starts off with tracking the phone calls, tracking where they come from. So that's where the marketing pieces come into play on how marketing's doing. Then with that, your booking percentage, so you know what your call close rate is. Another big thing, with the help of Robert and Redmond Growth, is getting the reviews on Google. It's monumental, and we track that on a weekly basis as well. So kudos to my guys. They've done really well also. They had to learn something new as far as actually asking for reviews, because that's sales 101. You have to ask. And but it also gives us, in a way that it's helped our business, is knowing what our manpower looks like. It's really given us some insight when you're really tracking the calls that you don't book and why. And we've had an influx of calls that we've gotten in and we didn't schedule them, and it's all because they needed it same day and we didn't have anybody available. So it's shown us that through that lead counter that conceivably we could hire another guy and he would just stay busy without spending another dime on any more marketing.
The only thing I get more excited about than lead tracking was back in the day when the phone books would come in. Because I used to do phone book advertising, Yellow Page advertising. And people don't remember this, but that was like, as a DJ, I'd wait all year to be able to launch the new ad. Because if I saved up money, I could get a bigger ad. And if you had the biggest advertisement, you'd get all the deals. Well, now you can make week by week changes, and you can track real time what's working. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Robert,
absolutely.
but you guys have launched a new website.
Yep.
You've got an offer that makes sense on the website.
Happy today or you don't pay.
There you go. And have you guys started implementing the group interview process? Has that happened yet?
We have.
Okay.
We have.
So you guys have really done a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I've been working with Roger for a year.
Yeah.
And
does it feel like 4 years or 1 year?
Man, Roger, time it's gone by so fast.
Every year feels like
here we go again. Great. Jeez, I love that, man. So yeah, we've been working with each other for a year, and we really have done a lot. And I remember the first phone call I had with Roger.
Yep.
He said, "Hey, I've been in business for over 25 years.
Yep.
And I still cannot get the business." I still have to be involved in the business. The business is still totally dependent upon me. And so we still have work to do. We're heading in a great direction.
Yep.
But the biggest thing that sets, again, Roger apart to encourage the other listeners out there is after 27 years in business, he just had his best month ever.
Ever.
That's
huge.
It's huge.
Did you guys go out to the German American Festival to celebrate the success, or what did you guys do to celebrate the success?
Well, I just found out about this yesterday.
We would have our own little Worst Fest right here, but with the current state of the state, we're pretty much self-quarantined. Other than people like us, essential businesses are on the road. So
I've been
on what we do.
I've been feeding Robert a diet of Lysol and Coronas to kill the Coronas, and he's safe. He can go out now, Robert.
The diet of Lysol. But the biggest thing that really separates Roger and the biggest contributing factor to my success or to his success, because I work with a lot of clients all over the country.
Yep.
The reason why Roger's been able to do so good is simply because he executes. He gets stuff done.
Wait a minute. Can you repeat that again, please?
He executes.
What?
He executes. He gets stuff
Holy
done.
cow.
And you know how rare this is, but this is something special
It is
about
rare.
Roger. Roger will always, before every meeting, he will update every single action item that we
Come
assigned
on.
from the previous week and let me know where he was at with that before the meeting.
That's bromantic. That's awesome.
Jeez, Clay is trying to induce an even deeper bromance between us.
No, this is great. This is great. Now, hey, real quick, I have a question, if it's okay with you.
Sure.
Can we begin to refer? Do you have a nickname for Roger at this point? Do you have a nickname for Roger at all, or no?
I don't have a nick. I don't think so.
I have a nickname for you.
I don't think so.
I have a nickname I want to give to you. And if you guys don't want it, it's fine. But let me. It's give me 1 second. I gotta look for it real quick. It's
Oh,
okay.
here we go. This is gonna be good.
Okay, 1 second here.
This is a little bit of a blast from the past.
Yeah, let me get it. I'm trying to get it's whenever you're trying to cue. Okay, here we go. This is my special dedication to Roger Patterson, and your new nickname is Raj Mahal.
Raj Mahal.
Oh yeah! Here we go. You're gonna love this song, Raj. Once it gets into the chorus, you're gonna love it. This is your new theme song.
Raj Mahal.
Oh yeah! Turn the light bulb. Yes.
Man,
Grab the Coronas. We're going over to Raj Mahal's.
that is.
Oh, nothing. I mean, if you look him up, folks, it's worth looking him up. When you hear this music, you think of this guy. When you listen to this, I mean, when you go right now to callrogersplumbing.com, you're gonna find a face that matches this music right here. Roger Patterson, yes.
We've got to find a way, Roger, to make that play on your website every time someone comes in. How do you even know this song, Clay? How do you even know that song?
As a disc jockey back in the day, I DJ'd a lot of Indian weddings, and they all have this Punjabi music, and pretty much every song kind of sounds the same. Let me play up some more, and again, this is called Punjabi music. Let me give you some more. This is some great Punjabi here. Let me cue it up here. Let me try it. Yes, that isn't good Punjabi music. No, that's not good. Let me get some more. Here we go. This might be it. Maybe. Let me get some more. You're not listening to a lot of Punjabi music during your coaching calls?
We have yet to go down the Punjabi.
Yeah,
route.
we've yet to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Jay-Z did a remix of this song. Have you heard the Jay-Z remix?
I do.
Okay, so yeah, it's just if you're out there and you guys have some downtime once you achieve all of Roger's financial goals, maybe you guys could spend some more time listening to some good Punjabi music like a good coach would do.
we need to do that.
Oh, man. Well, I'm so excited for you. It's so exciting. And for the listeners out there that, are maybe not discouraged, but they need some encouragement, Roger, what advice would you have for them as it relates to hiring a coach, implementing what Robert is teaching? What encouragement or advice would you have for the listeners out there?
Oh, it's definitely something that has great value. So there again, it's the accountability that goes along with implementation. So first of all, you've got to buy into the fact that you're not going to do it all yourself, and it does take processes to be able to run your business. By nature, I naturally gravitate towards the operational side. Through the coaching with Robert and then the implementation of the Profit First system, it really helps me to focus on what it takes to actually run your business instead of being out in the field every day and knowing what it's going to take to propel you to the next level. You got to have somebody to get the right kind of feedback from, and they've just got a lot of business experience, and there's not too many scenarios, and I haven't even run across one that they're not already familiar with. And Robert typically knows the answers because I'm really good at all of a sudden sending him a text or during our meetings like, hey, I got this great idea. And Robert's like, he'll reel me back in and say, hold on, let's focus on the core things before we, try to take over the entire world with some of this stuff. So focusing on the core things that it takes to be able to run your business is really something that has been of great value thus far for me.
Robert, I want to give you the final word here. For the listeners out there that want to have the success that Roger's having this year, what advice would you have for our listeners out there that want to be the next Roger Patterson?
Yeah, it's what we were saying earlier, and we go over this with clients whenever we start. It's written all over the walls here in the office. It's vision without execution is hallucination. And that was Thomas Edison who said that. And Roger, I think there may have been a couple times where the execution or the implementation wasn't as consistent, but then suddenly a switch happened with Roger early on, and he just started getting after it, staying on top of it, and that has been consistent. So if I were to give feedback to anyone out there who feels stuck, they've felt stuck for decades and they need help, it's these systems that we teach our clients that we talk about on the show that we have at the thrivetimeshow.com. It's the execution of those systems consistently.
Now, Jason, on today's show, we're going to be interviewing a lot of Thrivers who have received their Paycheck Protection Program funding, where they receive their 2.5 times their monthly payroll from the Small Business Administration.
I'm pumped about that.
I'm going to see if you can break down the rules for getting the Paycheck Protection Program funding.
Gotcha.
Because I want to make sure the listeners have this really simply clarified in their craniums.
Yep.
Step one. Why do all the listeners need to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program loan at multiple banks? Why is that a common denominator for all of our clients that have been funded? Why do they have to apply at multiple banks and not just one?
Well, not all banks move at the same speed.
True.
So you are going to have some banks that only do a certain number of even like regular business loans per month or per year. Like that's kind of like their average. So now they're getting bombarded and they might not be able to handle it as quickly. And you're going to have smaller banks that never see stuff like this, and you're going to have a better chance of. That's one thing is a lot of our clients that are being funded applied to a ton of different banks.
Yes, they
and the
did.
Smaller ones got back to them fast.
So let's talk about this. So one, we need to apply at a lot of banks.
True.
I'd say at least 3.
At least 3.
2, why do we have to be persistent? Why have all of our clients who have been funded, literally all of the clients that are being funded, they are all following up consistently with the bankers. Why is that an important step too?
Well, the whole Paycheck Protection Program is super important to your business, and so the bankers have to know that. Like, it can't just appear as another loan. And if you submit it and then a week goes by and there's no follow-up, they're going to assume that it's not super important to you and you're just going to remain that number in the queue. But, what's the phrase? The squeaky wheel gets the grease? Or
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or, just...
squeaky wheel gets,
yeah.
The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Or like in an argument, the loudest voiced wins. So you have to be the loudest voice. You have to be the business owner who's yelling louder than everybody else saying, hey, I need you to process this. I need my funding.
Now, the third variable I'm finding is the clients that are getting funded have their numbers together.
Right.
They actually have their documentation in place right now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of clients that have not been funded yet are saying, well, what documents do I need? What do I do? I want to round all that up before I call. It's super important that you get on the phone right now with your banker and you start this application process. You're gonna need your 941 quarterly payroll reports. You're gonna need them.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna need them, folks. But let's get this application started right now. We're putting a link on today's show notes so everybody can apply right now. Also, we want to make sure that you have no fear of the funding process. We also want to make sure you have no fear of the coronavirus itself. So we are putting links here on today's show notes to thrivetimeshow.com/coronavirus, thrivetimeshow.com/coronavirus. And Jason, why do you feel like, what is your take? Why do you feel like I have obsessed of updating our clients on a daily basis about the coronavirus and how dangerous it is and how dangerous it isn't?
Well, because nobody else is going to give them that information. So being the miraculous business coach that you are, the second that this happened, it was like somebody had flipped a switch because you've always been intense, but you realized how much this was going to affect the business owner. Employees aren't really getting affected by it, and I don't want to say they're not. There are people who lost their jobs because of this, but then you have programs like this that are going to assist the employees. You also have the additional government aid checks that are going out. But business owners, I mean, we've seen a lot of them unfortunately fail because nobody had prepared them for this, and nobody is in their corner helping them navigate through it. So you saw the need you saw the need that needed to be filled. These people need help. They need direction.
If you watch Fox News tonight, or CNN, they're going to tell you in broad terms that the Paycheck Protection funding is available, but nobody's willing to, that I can find, actually take your call and help you through this process. So what I'm telling the listeners, and I've been saying this very consistently all week, if you will email us to info@thrivetimeshow.com, info@thrivetimeshow.com, we will help you fill out the Paycheck Protection Program funding documentation. Yep. With no commission. And even if you're not a client, we're going to help you through. How many people have you helped in the last 2 weeks fill out the Paycheck Protection Program paperwork? How many people have you helped?
I've helped all 19 of my clients through that and through the the economic injury disaster loan form too. So we're really good at it.
And I will say right now, I mean this sincerely, you've probably helped save 400 or 500 jobs. Because when these clients get funding, it really does save jobs. So I encourage you folks, if you feel stuck and you don't know how to fill out the paperwork, you don't know what to do, email us right now at info@thrivetimeshow.com. Info@thrivetimeshow.com. I don't care whether you're a client or not. We want to help you navigate the coronavirus economy. Email us right now at info@thrivetimeshow.com, and we will reach out to you as soon as possible to help you through this process. And now, without any further ado, we're going to go into an interview here where Andrew Bloomer is interviewing his client, Dr. Dwight Corgan, who recently received funding from the Paycheck Protection Program.
All right. What is your name and what company are you guys with?
Dwight Corgan with Anui Meets Med Spa.
All right. And where are you guys located?
Claremore, Oklahoma.
Claremore, Oklahoma. Okay. And so you guys have received your Paycheck Protection Program funding. How long did it take for you guys to go from application submitted to your bank and actually receiving the funds?
We first got in a queue at the bank on the 31st, and then our application was submitted on the 3rd, and we got the final application yesterday afternoon. and then the signage came to me, and about an hour later, the funds were in my bank.
Perfect. So you submitted your application out there on the 31st, and then you got the funds in on the 9th of April.
Correct.
Well, good stuff. And then what bank are you guys using?
RCB Bank.
Perfect. And you guys have been banking with them for a little while now?
Over 40 years.
There we go. And how would you describe the whole process from start to finish? Was it easy? Was it difficult? How was that process?
The process is fairly easy once you get the correct information and the correct forms together. And we had to go back and forth just a little bit to be sure we had the correct forms they wanted. But once we had the forms, it was very easy.
All right. And then how do you feel now that you actually have the funding? It's been deposited and you've got your payroll ready to go. How does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel a little better. It'd be even better if I could open my business because this doesn't come close to covering all my costs.
Got it. But we're getting there.
It does help me. It does help me retain my key employees.
That's right. So it helps you retain the employees, cover payroll, and a couple more expenses. Yeah. So that is good to hear, and we appreciate you coming on.
Well, you are welcome.
All right. I appreciate it.
All righty. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Now, Jason, I want to ask you this because I think there's a lesson people can learn here. But I'm hearing a lot of people, a lot of great people, a lot of great clients questioning whether they're ever going to actually get funded.
Yes.
From the Paycheck Protection Program.
I, too, have heard that.
How many success stories, how much positive news do you think our listeners need to hear before they believe that they can actually get funding?
You know, in a perfect world, just a couple. Just like, hey, I'm a small business owner, just like you, and I got the funding. Well, we know that happened. You know, I know for a fact it's happened for Josh.
With Living Water Irrigation.
Mm-hmm. It's happened for Williams Contracting.
Yep.
It's happened for Andrew's client just now.
Yep.
So it's not ethereal.
But we know these clients.
Right.
But our listeners don't know the clients.
They don't.
So I'm going to queue up another audio. This is Josh with Living Water Irrigation. We just got off the phone with him this morning at 5:45 in the morning on Saturday.
Yeah, it was prior to 6.
And we just interviewed him about the funding process. And folks, his website is livingwaterirrigationok.com. livingwaterirrigationok.com. Check out his website. He's a real human just like you, and he just got funded.
Good morning, Clay Clark.
All right, Josh. How are you, my friend?
I am wonderful, sir. And yourself?
I am excited to be talking to you previous to 6 a.m. on a Saturday. And what I wanted to do is, I have Jason here with me. Jason, we have Josh with Living Water Irrigation. Jason, Josh, Jason. I want to go over and kind of walk the listeners through you recently receiving funding. What bank did you go to?
So we went through Security Bank in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And you applied for the Paycheck Protection Program approximately how many days ago?
So we applied last Friday, which dates-wise would have been the 3rd.
Okay, and then after you filled out the paperwork, who was your account rep that you were working with at Security Bank?
It was Andrew Havens.
And did you get? Have you been funded yet?
We have. We actually officially received the money yesterday, about midday.
And I'm not asking the amount of money that you received, but I do want to encourage the listeners out there. You did actually receive funding from a bank yesterday from the Paycheck Protection Program.
Real, legitimate money.
Okay, and it took you again how many days?
It took 7 days, so 5 business days. We submitted Friday. We had an approval number from the SBA Friday afternoon of last week.
Yep.
And then basically every day it was going to be deposited, and then it was officially deposited yesterday.
Okay, and Jason, you have a lot of clients that are struggling to get that funding right now. Many of them, it's a financial lifeline they need right now. What questions would you have for Josh about the funding process on behalf of your clients?
Yeah, so for a lot of my clients, it's kind of just like hurry up and wait. So they're in the same boat. They either submitted theirs Thursday or Friday of last week, and they're just waiting on something. So for Josh, I guess my question is, did you do any follow-up to help push this thing along, or did you just submit it and kind of leave it in their hands?
So both of you all know me well, but maybe not all of our listeners do, but I can be very annoying and very persistent. So that's what I continued to do. I just called and texted multiple times a day.
Yep.
Hey, are we funded? 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 So it obviously is that important to me, and I know it's important to a number of our listeners. So that's what I would encourage everybody is just continue to ask, continue to email, continue to call, continue to text.
And did you apply at multiple banks or just one bank?
We did. We applied at 3.
Got it.
And see who got us to the party first.
Nice. Now, the other 2, I'm not asking for their specific names, but for the other 2 that have not funded you yet and that will not fund you ultimately because you only get funded one time, where did they leave where did they leave you at? Have they called you back? Have they been following up with you? Have they told you it's coming soon? Or what have you heard from the other banks?
One of the banks never followed up. The other bank actually called yesterday afternoon.
Got it.
And said, hey, we just submitted your application and just realized you already got funded from another bank. And said, hey, thank you very much. Have a nice day.
That's great. It
took those other 2 banks, one of them a week to do anything. The other one has yet to do anything.
Well, encouragement. Any other questions, Jason? Because your clients, again, I want to make sure the action steps we're getting here is 1, apply at multiple banks. 2, be persistent to follow up. 3, it actually does happen.
Right.
Any other questions you have for Josh on behalf of some of your clients that are just not getting any type of satisfaction?
Not so much a question, just if he could reiterate and just kind of stress the importance of applying to multiple, because that's one thing I've been trying to help my clients with. Everybody has that personal business banker. It's like, this has been my guy. He's been looking over my business accounts.
I know a guy. He's great.
The 20 years I've been in business, I want to give him the opportunity, but those guys are also heavily bombarded. So I'm just saying it doesn't hurt. Just like Josh said, he took it to 3. 1 did nothing for a week. 1 was a little bit slower to start, and then the other one just hammered it, and so that's the one he went with. It's no hard feelings. So, if you could just reiterate the importance of sending it to multiple opportunities, that way you're not stuck waiting forever. That's all I need.
Absolutely. So I was talking to a COO of a bank yesterday, and they don't do business banking, but he and I were having a conversation, and I know this isn't going to be a popular statement, but bankers aren't necessarily the hardest working people on the planet. So you have to realize in that profession, I think there's a reason why we say bankers hours. So you're taking a profession who doesn't really ever want to work as a general rule and asking them to actually work really hard for a lot of small businesses that are literally trying to eat. So that's number one. You got to realize whom you're dealing with. So it's not Clay Clark and Jason and me who get up early every morning and go do it every single day. So that's the big part of it. The other part is just putting some pressure on them. That's why we multiplied. We did it 3 banks. So the relationship we've had since the day we went into business, that bank we are no longer banking at, because I told them, hey, listen, this is very, very important to my company. So if another bank gets this done first, I'm moving all of my money to another bank.
Wow.
And that's what we're doing.
That's beautiful.
And we've been with that bank for all of our businesses, all of our money, my personal checking, everything is all at one bank. Well, now it is all going to Security Bank. So
there it is. There it is, folks. Josh, I appreciate you so much for joining us today. I realize you're a busy guy. What do you have planned on your incredible Saturday? What do you have planned amidst the Corona environment?
So we are on our way to Claremore, Oklahoma to install a sprinkler system, and then we have 2 other installs going on in Broken Arrow, and then we have some service calls. So it's we're going to go get a bunch of work done, if possible, amidst all the hysteria.
Well, you are a beautiful man, and I mean that in the most insincere way possible. I can't see you, but I can smell you on this audio-only podcast, and you smell like you're looking good.
Well, we love you guys. It's a beautiful, beautiful Saturday, and listeners out there, stay positive, stay encouraged, but just stay pestering.
Yes, stay pestering. All right. Take care, my friend.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Bye. You know, Jason, for a business, cash flow to a business is like blood and oxygen for the human body.
Yeah, it keeps it alive.
It keeps it alive. You know, if you're a plant out there. If you're a wonderful plant, I'm sure we have a lot of incredible vegetation that listens to this show. But plants need water, sunshine. It's photosynthesis. They need these things.
Chlorophyll.
That's what the plants need to have the process of photosynthesis. They need the water. They need the sunlight. They need all that stuff.
Right.
A business needs cash coming in and coming out. That's the cash flow. And if you feel stuck today, again, just email us, info@thrivetimeshow.com, info@thrivetimeshow.com, and we will help you get funded right now. And now we have another great client. It's the good folks at CT Technology. And I had Julia interview them because I was helping one of my clients get funded. So if you are struggling to get the funding you need, email us right now to info@thrivetimeshow.com, info@thrivetimeshow.com, and we will help you fill out the Paycheck Protection Program documentation, even if you're not a client. Do not be left out. We've got to get serious about this. You need this cash for your business. And now, without any further ado, this is Julia's interview with her clients, the founders of CT Technology.
Thrive Time Show, welcome. I have on the show with us today the incredible Chris Tracy with CT Technologies. Chris, can you say hi to everybody?
Yeah, hi. How you doing? Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, absolutely. And it is Friday, April 10th, and I believe you have some incredible news for the Thrive Nation. What's going on, Chris?
Yes, I do. Okay, so after 2 weeks of hard work and dedication and daily harassing from me, I got a deposit for $71,500 in my bank account for 2 months of payroll.
Nice. All right. So 2 months of payroll, and tell us how that process started. So from the beginning, when you very first applied, or from that very first call, whenever I gave you a call and said, "Hey, Chris, we've got to hop on this." What day was that, if you remember? And then what was that process like? And about how long did it take before you were actually funded? What did that look like?
Yeah, I think, actually, you know what? I'll just pull up my calendar. Hold on a second. Yeah, so it would have been like the 29th is when I applied for my EDIL. But I have been trying to get this PPP since about the 27th. 28th of March, something like that. It's been a daily thing, and we ended up, oh man, so many things. So I don't even know how to break them down the most.
So break down the daily thing for me. So what do you mean by it was a daily process trying to get this money? Elaborate on that a little bit, please.
Yeah, for sure. So what I did is I got a hold of every bank that I could as soon as I heard this came out on TV. Not really sure what day that was. Sometime about 2 weeks ago.
So not one bank. Let me make sure we have this clear. So you didn't just apply to one bank and then accept the answer of "we'll be in touch with you." Is that what I'm hearing?
Good Lord, no.
Okay.
No. I called Bank of America. I originally called Arvest. I called, all the credit unions. I called everybody. And the banks didn't know. I called the SBA. I got on the SBA phone calls with the governor. It was just crazy. We ended up being one of the first people to do it through equity.
Nice.
I know that people have been getting it through Arvest. And I know that people have been getting it through Regent really fast.
So let me ask you a question. So with Equity or Regent Bank or really any of these banks that you're hearing that people are actually getting funded. So if the bank were to reach out to you asking for, let's just say, a 941 form, or asking for your articles of organization or something along those lines, give us some advice. How quickly were you getting back to them, and do you think that made a difference in how fast you were funded versus some of the other business owners who maybe weren't as proactive trying to reach out to people?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Great question. Yeah, I was immediate. I was actually calling different banks. I had applications in with several different banks at the same time, and I let them all know. I said, hey, I just want to let you know I have applications in with these 2 other banks, and whoever gets me in first, I'm going to let the other 2 know that I'm not going to go with you guys, basically, right?
Right.
And they were okay with that. But I just wanted to state that in the email that might not suffice as anything, but it made me feel comfortable. So that was one of the tactics I used.
Okay.
But yeah, no, there's several documents in here that I had to submit several times. The Paycheck Protection Program
Mm-hmm.
application. Oh my God, that thing changed like at least 6-7 times.
Yes,
at
it
least
did.
7 times. And I had to keep filling it out and signing it in Adobe because my printer stopped working after all the scan-ins.
Gotcha.
Over at least 30 scanned documents that had to be done over and over. But anyway.
So 2 last questions for you, Chris, and then I'll let you get back to being awesome. So you are a real person, right? Or are you a statue, or are you a real human, or what's the status there?
Yeah, absolutely. Last time I checked, I am a real human.
You are a real person, and you really did get funded, and you really do own a real business, and you really did get funded. This is not fake. This is exciting. This is real, right?
This is real. Yeah, no, this is absolutely real. And really, I'd have to say that pestering the bankers, pestering the SBA is the only reason I got this as fast as I did, and I did it every day, all day long.
Nice. Okay, last question for you, and then I'll let you go. Where can people go to learn more about you? And then CT Technology, Chris Tracy. What exactly do you do?
Yeah, so we're a managed service provider, and we're in the Oklahoma area. Particularly, we deal with tribes and casinos. We've been doing that for 11 years now.
Can you service small business owners with?
Super blessed. But they can get a hold of us by going to our website, which is www.cttech.net, and we'll go ahead and sound it out phonetically here. It's Charlie Tango Echo Charlie.net.
Perfect.
So www.
And can you service small business owners as well, say about 20 user accounts or something like that? Not just...
Yeah, that's our absolute niche right there. So that 20 user market is the one we can help utilize our enterprise level technology with.
Okay.
So our virtualization, our disaster recovery, our security services that we dole out at an enterprise level, we've been able to bundle that into like a 20 user pack, which is phenomenal.
Nice. Okay, so for the average listener, maybe I know nothing about computers. What is it that you would help me solve?
Okay, so for example, like we'll come in and we'll bring new hardware in, new servers, new switches, new routers, new keyboards, new mice, new desktops, laptops if you sign up for that option. And it's all as a monthly bill, so there's no upfront cost.
So you're eliminating what sounds like about 90% of my technical issues throughout the day. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All
Then
right.
we have a 24/7 help desk. So, and that ranges all the way up to our tier 3 engineers. So those guys that know a whole bunch about their particular field. So they're gurus in what they do via network, server management, virtualization, disaster recovery, those kind of things.
Nice. All right, Chris. Well, I will let you go. Thank you so much for hopping on the show with me. Thanks for letting us know, helping out the listeners and letting them know that funding's here. Be on top of it. Be proactive. And I certainly do appreciate you.
Oh, thank you guys. And big shout out to you guys. You the Thrive Time, everybody there. Like, without you guys, we wouldn't even been ahead of the game like this. So thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. You are awesome. Let's end with the boom. You ready?
Do it.
3, 2, 1, boom!
Jason, can Julia end a show with a boom? Is she allowed to do that? I don't
think she has permission to do
that. Does not. She does not have permission to end the show with a boom, and so we must continue sharing the good news. How many clients do you think we have to share? How many success stories do we have to share today? Because we have so many clients who are getting funded right now.
Right. So I think
it's the new cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Another one?
Let's do it.
We want to build the faith of you out there today that you are going to get through this. You're going to make it. You have the capacity and the tenacity to do this, but you've got to fill out the Paycheck Protection Program documentation. And if you feel stuck, just email us at info@thrivetimeshow.com. And there are 3 rules for the Paycheck Protection Program I want to establish. Again, One, make sure you apply at a lot of banks. And Jason, why do you want to apply at more than one bank and at least 3?
Well, the whole thing is these funds are limited, so you can't put all of your eggs in one basket. You can't wait on some Gary in order to, get this done as fast as possible. So you want to apply to as many as you possibly can, because somebody at one of those branches could work faster than the other 3 or 4 that you sent it to. Oh, yeah.
You're saying that some banks are going to fund faster than other banks?
Absolutely.
All right. 2, make sure that you follow up. Why do you want to follow up, and follow up?
Eventually, people want you to stop. It's like the whole cry, buy, or die method. So if you're a business owner already, same thing with your leads. You call them until they cry, buy, or die. So with the bank, you call them until they until they cry. Dear, for the love of God, Jason, please stop calling me. They actually fund you, or you both die of anticipation.
And move number 3, you've got to have your paperwork, folks.
Yes.
If you don't know what to do, we've been helping clients all week do this. We will help you. But you've got to have your 941 quarterly payroll reports. You've got to have those. You're going to need your articles of organization. You're going to need your personal identification. Just reach out to us right now if you're stuck. info@thrivetimeshow.com, and we will help you get that funding that your business needs right now with no commission, no broker fee. We're just here to help you. info@thrivetimeshow.com. And now, without any further ado, Julia's interviewing yet another one of her clients who she helped to get funded this week. It's the good guys, Tommy and Randy Wright of Aromascapes.
Hello, Thrive Nation. We have some exciting news today. I have here Tommy and Randy Wright with Aromascapes. How are you, gentlemen?
Doing great. We're doing fantastic today.
So this is Tommy and Randy Wright, and so you guys are the Wright brothers. You guys invented the plane. Am I right about that?
Well, we can't take credit for that.
No, but what you can take credit for, I'm hearing some rumors and some good news from Randy here. Randy, can you tell Thrive Nation what's going on today? What big things are happening in Edmond, Oklahoma?
Well, we got our money deposited in the bank from the Paycheck Protection loan or grant at 2:00 today.
Nice. So you guys are one of the first. I know we have some in the process. They're getting their money soon. We're all hoping. But tell us about that. If you can help our listeners here kind of understand this a little bit. So originally, whenever you were going through this process, what was the first date that you guys kind of started gathering things, tried to get some information to get started on the process of receiving the funds? And then, of course, today being April 9th is the day that it was actually funded. But tell us about that timeline a little bit, Randy.
I think it was around the 27th of March when you first reached out and we started hearing that we were able to go ahead and apply. So the following week, I was reaching out to our banker and also reached out to another bank you guys had recommended. And our bank got back to us first. I think they got back with me around Tuesday, the 31st. And so we got the application. Maybe I had the application till Wednesday, but we got everything. They wanted a lot of financials. I heard a lot of other banks weren't asking for all the financials they were requiring, but I think in the long run it helped that we got all that in early.
Right.
So as they went back and needed some more of that, they already had it. So and then Friday morning, you got a hold of us early and sent us the new app, and we got that right over. So we got that over like 8:01. It was like 3:00 in the afternoon. She'd sent it to me, and that's where it's like, we got that to you at 8:01 this morning.
Nice.
So then I think it was Tuesday the 7th was when she let us know we were approved. And yesterday late, she asked what account we wanted to go into. And then today at about 2 o'clock, we got the money account. The thing I was real consistent on was at least once, if not twice a day, I was emailing her and texting her and just asking, hey, really nicely. I wasn't trying to be rude or just,
Right.
hey, hope you're having a great day. I know you're busy, but any new updates today? And usually not long after that, I would hear something from her. So I think it was just staying in front of her was the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's great. So can you tell us what bank you go through?
It's an Arvest Bank, Arvest.
Arvest. Okay, perfect. So did you find that it was helpful having an existing relationship with your banker on getting this processed? Tommy, can you elaborate on this a little bit?
I sure can. Yeah, I think that having that relationship there that was very helpful. There was a point of contact that we had inside Arvest, and by communicating with her, that really helped the process. I'll tell you something else. We really appreciate you really pushing us to stay in contact with them and really keeping us abreast of all the information that was coming out. I really feel like that we were ahead of that curve, ahead of that tidal wave, so to speak.
Were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that people keep asking, what can we do? What can we do to move this along? What can we do to push this along faster? And ultimately it's top of mind. So, you guys were very diligent. You guys were very consistent on following up. You guys had that relationship as well. So you did it all right from day one. But having that consistent follow-up, you guys were top of mind most of the time, a couple times a day, a few times a day. And I think that helped a lot. Randy, can you answer some questions? What kind of documents did you bring? What was the timeline on your response to get back from, maybe some of those documents that they were needing from you? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, we've got a real good CPA and the relationship with them. So it was either last Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon. It was probably around 2 or 3 that we got all that. So by the end of that day, he had everything that we needed. Plus, we had our financials. They wanted some bank statements, W-2s, W-3s, just some different financial stuff that we got put together and got over, that night.
That's perfect. Okay, so Tommy, I have a question for you first. Are you a real person, Tommy? Or are you a hologram, or what are we working with here?
I like to think so. Sometimes, if you ask my wife, that might be I don't know. Depending on the day, it might be different.
And so, Randy, what about you? You're a real person?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. So tell us the name of your company and talk to us a little bit about what you thought, maybe when... So you guys were keeping up with this with me. We've been, on the phone off and on for the last 2 weeks going through this together, and we're all watching press conferences, and we're all keeping posted, with what's being said. So you hear, this is happening, and then there's been some minor changes. So you guys are real people. You guys now have gotten funded, but did you guys have doubts at first, or maybe thought the timeline was going to be longer or shorter, or Randy?
Yeah, it certainly looked like that. It really did.
Yeah.
There was 2 times that I think that we really kind of thought maybe this is obviously this is something that's never happened before, and it put a lot of people in a first time ever kind of a position. So we're being patient with what was going on, but there was a time or two I think that we thought this process might take a little longer than what they were saying.
Yeah. So Randy, what was your overall experience like with getting the money, the timeline? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, as it kind of drug out, and I understood the banks weren't getting exactly what they needed. I guess it's kind of vague from what first came down from the SBA, but we do monthly services, so we bill, and basically customers set up on that 30. So right now we were still going to be okay. We had enough money, to make payroll through the 15th. But now those checks have really stopped coming in, and we can't go service anybody because commercial clients, they're all closed. So, even if we do get to open up May 1st, it could still be the end of May before we start seeing money roll back in. So,
Right.
yeah, so it was definitely getting a little nervous.
So that lifeline was huge to you guys. That lifeline.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Where
Yeah, so
can
we would have to start making some cuts on the 1st if we wouldn't have got this.
Right. Okay, so where can our listeners learn more about you guys? Tell us what you guys do. Tell us a little bit about you and where we can find out more that you guys are actually real people. And you're the actual famous Wright brothers, not the other guys.
Well, we're Aromascapes, and you can find us at aromascapes.net. And what we do is we provide scent marketing, scent branding services. Also, we help facilities neutralize odors if they have a malodor present. But we have various devices that help us achieve those results with, and all the product that we use is essential oil-based formulations. So whatever fragrance they choose to have, it'll be an essential oil.
Yeah, and what are you guys doing for your clients? What's a big offer that you're running right now?
Well, it is. You get a free on-site survey, and the first month is only $1.
First month is only $1?
You can find that on our website. Yep.
Nice.
The first month.
That's a good deal.
Yep. You find that you sign up on our website, aromascapes.net.
Love it. All right, one last question for you guys, and then I will let you get back to being awesome. So what is one piece of advice that you would give our listeners who are still in that phase where they're waiting on confirmation, they're waiting on getting funded? Randy, can you give us one piece of advice, and then Tommy, you follow that as well?
Yeah, I would just say, stay on top of your banker. Be nice about it. Don't be rude, but at least once a day, if not twice. I was emailing her. I would set up an email to be there at like 7:50 in the morning. I'd do that at night, and so it'd automatically go out, so she'd have it before she got to work, and then usually around 3 or 3:30, if I hadn't heard anything, I would text. And I was being nice, but just asking for updates. And usually soon after that, I would hear something from her.
Yes, you're a honey badger. That's what we call that here. Tommy, what would you say?
I would definitely second what Randy just said, but I'd also say be patient with them. This is something that is really thrown into their laps, and they're having to learn things as they go. I'm hearing some people are working quite late trying to get this all taken care of and getting the small businesses taken care of.
Right. Well, I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so happy to hear that you've gotten funded. That is great. You guys are real people. This is awesome. There is light. There is light ahead, and we are so happy to have you on the show. We certainly appreciate your time, guys.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Folks, we want to encourage you out there. If you need this Paycheck Protection funding, and I know you do, just email us right now, info@thrivetimeshow.com, info@thrivetimeshow.com. We're going to help you get that funding. We make zero commission on it. Even if you're not a client, we are here to help you and to serve you. We want to help you through this process. And I want to end it with some real good encouragement for you. Last night, President Trump did a press conference, whether you like Trump or not. The predictions now for the number of deaths that are projected to come from this coronavirus pandemic are now down to 61,000, which, Jason, that number is a lot lower than 2.2 million.
Yeah, the number is also a lot lower than what the flu killed last year.
Right. The common flu killed 80,000 people in 2017, 2018, according to the Center for Disease Control. The coronavirus right now, folks, is on pace to only impact the lives or the ending of the lives of 61,000 people. Now, if anybody dies, it is absolutely a serious thing, and I don't mean to make light of that, but I want to point out that that's a lot less than the 2.2 million that was initially predicted and projected. And the actual number, the LA Times is reporting right now, 60,415 deaths is the new number that's being predicted. So you don't need to be afraid of the virus. You don't need to be economically afraid. And President Trump last night was discussing his desire to open up the country here, and it looks as though May 1st is the date they're talking about, maybe earlier. And so there's a big reason to end the show with a boom. Jason, are you prepared to end the show with a boom?
I'm so prepared.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Encouragement. Yes. Pull it through the paint, wiggling it. See? Wiggle it. Start with just...
Why does this still keep happening to me? I don't know whose prayer I'm breaking into, but I'm breaking into somebody's prayer saying, Lord, why do I keep going through the same things over and over again? And the Lord sent me here to tell you the problem is with your default. Until you change your default, you will always go back to being who you were before because you have never changed your mind. You change your friends, you change your address, you change your phone number, you change the songs you sing, you changed everything else, but you didn't change your mind. There is nothing as powerful as a changed mind.
Boom! Nothing as powerful as a changed mind. Boom! Better get yours, cause I'ma take mine. Boom! Leave them where they at if they ain't ready. Used to have a lot of homies, now they dropping like a Betty. I'm like, boom! We taking over, it's our time now. Boom! Oh, you ain't know, we about to thrive now. Big, overwhelming, optimistic, momentum, A-place. Hey, back, let me get 'em. Go get 'em then. Hurdle every obstacle, trying to do the impossible. Turned my whole life around, haters thought it was comical. Had to make some moves, didn't even seem logical. Quarterback to play, man, I had to call it audible. Drop back, stop that. Rearrange or switch it up. Only got one life to live, it's best that you go live it up. Failure ain't an option, ain't no way that I can give it up. Hey, knowledge, gon' pick it up. Nothing like your posse, look poppy, you cannot top me. They watch me and try to copy like Rocky, you cannot stop me. Hungrier than ever, we grinding all through the weather. We shining because we better get with us, we bout our cheddar. Once I change my mind, dog, trust me, ain't no going back. Coming for that top spot, I'm feeling like they owe me that. Time for us to level up, I feel like we've been holding back. Throw your hands up, say it with me if you know it, Dad. Boom! Nothing as powerful as a changed mind. Boom! Better get yours, cause I'ma take mine. Boom! Leave them where they at if they ain't ready. Used to have a lot of homies, now they dropping like a Betty. I'm like, boom! We taking over, it's our time now. Boom! Oh, you ain't know, we about to thrive now. Big, overwhelming, optimistic, momentum, A-place. Hey, back, let me get 'em. Yeah. Came a long way from where I used to be. Don't even see life the way I used to see it. Old habits die hard, but you gotta leave them. If they ain't riding like a Harley, then you don't need them. You're cheering and you're clapping, I don't need that. Fake friends treat them like Fat Joe, make them lean back. Excitement, no vision, makes you blind, I can see that. Anything I think up in my mind, I can achieve that. I can make a million if I want to. I'ma keep it real cause I want to. Other women try to holler, girl, I want you. And disrespecting wifey's what I won't do. Gon' do your dance, gon' do your dance. If you really wanna change, gotta have a plan. Even when they sit down, I'ma take a stand. Throw your hands up, say it with me if you know it, man.
Beliefs become your thoughts become your actions. So be intentional about where your passion is focused. There's no hocus pocus. We only live once, man, and you know this. You can't press the rewind, but you can make a beeline to the next level like you're headed for the tree line. I was born in Minnesota, moved to Oklahoma, incorporated both into my rhymes. Now it's time to show ya how a former stuttering student can turn out the raps with a lyrical flow in the cash to match. Yeah, I'm important, a Minnesota refugee, but I'm consistent as can be as I rap on hip-hop beats, bringing rappers syntax. Even though that I'm wise, I can play that funky music, but I ain't vanilla ice. Here we go, full steam. 3, 2, 1, dynamite on the scene.
Boom! Nothing as powerful as a changed mind. Boom! Better get yours, cause I'ma take mine. Boom! Leave them where they at if they ain't ready. Used to have a lot of homies, now they dropping like a Betty. I'm like, boom! We taking over, it's our time now. Boom! Oh, you ain't know, we about to thrive now. Big, overwhelming, optimistic, momentum. Boom!
And the Lord sent me here to tell you the problem is with your default. Until you change your default, you will always go back to being who you were before because you have never changed your mind. You change your friends, you change your address, you change your phone number, you change the songs you sing, you changed everything else, but you didn't change your mind. There is nothing as powerful as a changed mind.
Hear the rest of T.D. Jakes' incredible, life-changing, and mind-altering sermon, Nothing as Powerful as a Changed Mind Today, by looking up T.D. Jakes on YouTube and typing in Nothing as powerful as a changed mind.
You're getting ready to flow. I feel the glory.
That is a lyrical miracle rap